Hello, so I'm back with my Christmas planner. I printed out all of the new pages for 2020, so I thought I'd show a quick flip through of what I've got before I start filling it all in, basically. So this is blank pages ready for the year. I kind of got a clear out of what was in here. I can't remember what I showed you in the last video, but basically I've just taken most of the stuff out that I don't need, and I put a little bit of scrapbook paper here. I don't have any Christmassy post-it notes, but that's kind of a Christmassy colour-ish, so those have gone in there. I've kept the same dashboard, and behind the dashboard I have my main master to-do list, which is broken into things to do with this planner, things to do with cards, things to do with gifts, things to do with food, things to do with Advent, and things to do with my Christmas journal, like my junk journal. And then I put a little circle here with some craft projects in case I have any ideas for projects to do this year. And it's just kind of like, so I can see my progress and I tick them off as I go. So I've already ticked off make new dividers for 2020, which I've done. And I've already ticked off set planner pages up for this year, which I've done. So the next thing to do is to transfer the notes from last year. So all my notes from last year need to go into the correct locations, like things I wanted to do differently or anything that needs to be sort of moved over. So the first page behind the dashboard is my master to-do list. Next page is just generally thoughts for 2020, like what we're going to want to do differently this year. Obviously with the COVID-19 situation, things are going to be a little bit different, so I'll probably just write a few notes there about how we're going to kind of approach it. Onto there, basically. I've done this new page this year called Etsy Plan because last Christmas I did sell a few things in my Etsy shop, some digital items, and I'm probably going to do the same again. So I thought I'd have a page in here just to kind of write notes about what I want to sell. I was thinking about maybe selling these insert digital files if people want to print them off, if you have an A5 ring bound. I haven't decided yet, but anyway, that will go on there. Then I have like a calendar overview, so starting in July and August. So last year I actually put the physical calendars, like with the dates and the days, and I wrote down like which days I did things. And it was fine, but I thought I'd just try it a little bit different this year, and I've just by month what I'm gonna write in what I've done in July, what I've done in August, September, October. I mean, I'll probably write like a guide of what I want to do, like what I plan to do in each month. So I know what I'm doing November and December. Every year I want this to be blank. Like I want everything done by November, so December's just free to enjoy, but we'll see. And then at the end of each section, I've always got a notes for 2021. I always have basically a page for each, so one for budget, one for gifts, cards, etc. And it always goes at the back, well, it usually goes at the back, and if there's something like, oh, I need to do this differently next year, well, why don't we try that next year? I put them on there. And that's a really handy way to catch ideas for next year. And then I just shoved in some sort of plain note paper that I had left over, so that's gone over. And then this is my printing guide. So for all these sheets, I've done like a printing guide of how I've printed them. And I did this before I printed them all out because I wanted to get it in my head how am I gonna, what pages I need and what order and everything. I do this every year, and I have changed a few bits for this year, but there's a couple of pages there, and I sort of, these little holes here are supposed to represent these holes. So if it's this side, it's actually the right side. And if it's that side, it's the left side with the holes on the right. So the holes are there. I sort of need to see it visually, otherwise I get all confused when I'm printing, basically. So that will stay there, and then next year I'll sort of reuse it and maybe tweak a few things. So the next tab is budget. So I printed out more sheets for my budget this year. I've got a small section at the top for notes, like if I'm overspending or underspending, or if I've got something particular I need to buy at the top. This says 2020 budget. It's not a very good print, it doesn't quite show it very well, but I can read it from here. The first column is category, So I break them into different categories, gifts, cards, food, etc. Then there's the item, then there's the cost, and then I've got a running total column. I didn't have a running total, I don't think, last year, but obviously that's really handy because you keep adding them up, you sort of get a sense of when you need to calm down. So I actually have 2 double-sided sheets of that. I'm hoping I won't need to use 2 sheets, but you know. To be fair to myself, I do buy a lot of very, very cheap cheap things, like secondhand things and stuff. So if it builds up, it's not necessarily spending a lot of money. It's normally like, cause I'm buying things for like 200 yen or 300 yen or 100 yen. But yeah. Then I have budget notes, and I've done them by category. So I've done budget notes for cards and gifts, for Advent, for food, and for decor, because last year I think I had it all in one. And considering the fact that I spend different amounts, different ways on different things, I thought it'd be good to have notes pages for each this year, so I'll see how that goes. And then I've put underneath in brackets and notes for 2021, because obviously my notes about the budget are going to be things like, whoa, I spent too much on this and we don't need to do that next year, or okay, so I bought this year, but that means you don't have to have it for next year, or I don't know, or maybe I need to think more about, like last year I sold a few of my cards and I actually made up the money by selling them. I made up the money to pay for them, and I want to do that again this year. So it's not all, you know, I've spent too much money. So yeah, budget notes there. Next section is gifts. So first page is just thoughts for 2020, what I'm thinking I'm going to do, what's the plan generally. Any gift ideas that come up that I haven't decided who they're for, or like perhaps I can make a set of, I don't know, make something, so I might write that down there and then think about who I'm going to give it to. And then I have a couple of pages of wish lists, one for me. I mean, I don't need a huge amount, but obviously family like to sometimes give presents, although I did say to family, let's not do presents. But things like my granny, she always wants to give something. So I keep a page to kind of, if I think of something that might be suitable, I can write it on here. So if somebody asks me, I've got that to refer to. So I've got one for me and one for my son. And then the next pages are all gift pages. So I'll just show you a few examples. So the way I do it is I have, these are all the same people. So I do it by like group of family or whatever. So this is all my husband's family. And what I'll do is the left-hand side is ideas, like just quickly writing down what about this, or this could work, or how, you know, working out how things might cost. And then on this side is what I bought and what or made or given. So each person has like a box, and I'll write in what I gave. So I just have that for every sort of group of people, basically, ideas and then what actually happened. So there's quite a few of those, but I've covered them up because some of them have got things filled in already. Next page is gifts received for my son, so that I remember what people have given him. And then if my husband and I get any gifts, I write them on here. Gift notes for 2021 at the end, that's the last page. And cards, I always keep this envelope in here so that I know which orientation I need to put it in the printer when I print my envelopes. So that's just carried through. Cards, thoughts for 2020, like what design I might do, and roughly working out a budget, because I design my own and then print them, so that goes on there. And I've got 2 sides for that. And then I have my card grids to keep track of who I'm sending them to. Recipient name goes in here, and then I keep a running total, so I number one, that says number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that I can quickly reference how many. I don't have to keep counting them every time. So I know how many to print, basically. A means, have I checked the address, like they haven't moved house. W is written, have I written it out. S is sent, and R is if we received one. And then I just have notes column in case I want to make a note about anything. So I have UK and international, 2-sided, and then for Japan on this one side. And then at the back again are cards, notes for 2021, notes for next year. Next section is post. I didn't have a section dedicated to post last year. It was kind of all mixed in with the cards and gifts, and I thought I'd better do a separate one this year because it's information that I need to reference quite quickly and easily. So I have a post. This is obviously tailored to me. This is postage costs. So I sort of work out roughly how much the cards are going to cost to post. So like I count up how many international cards and how many Japan cards, and then I estimate like the cost of the stamp by how many, and I sort of work out a rough total. Because obviously I'm going to use that this year to try and recoup that money through card sales. I then have information about postage costs for packages. I send them everything as a small packet, but I need to make sure I'm within the maximum weight and length and size, and I keep track of how the increments, and the price goes up in increments of 500 grams, so I know I need to kind of stay below 500 grams increments so that I don't end up suddenly paying more just for like 1 gram extra. So that information I'll fill in each year because it does sometimes change a little. And then I also have the UK import maximum value. So when you send a gift abroad to a lot of countries, probably every country, you have to pay import taxes or import duties if it's over a certain amount. And obviously I'm sending my packages to the UK, so I like to write in here what the maximum value is in yen, so that when I'm packing the boxes I make sure I don't go over that one, because there's nobody wants to get charged taxes to get a Christmas present. So that's my sort of first reference sheet. Second reference sheet is going to be postage codes. So when you fill out the import declaration stickers, or if you do it online, you have to, now apparently you have to write in all the codes for each item. So like chocolate is code 3439, I don't know what it is, but anyway. So I'm going to try and keep a track so I don't have to keep looking up every time I want to send chocolate of what the code for chocolate is, and write that in there. And then behind that I have the addresses, so obviously we're not going to look through those. Advent. First page is thoughts for 2020, things I'd like to do. And then I've also done a second Advent wish list, and I realise these are kind of similar, but these are things I definitely want to do. This is going to be sort of thinking about what if we try this, or how I'm feeling about Christmas coming up this year and the Advent season and blah, blah, blah. And then this is going to be just like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and we'll just see how it goes, basically. I thought I'd keep a books and films inventory, just so that I remember what we have, because at this point I sometimes buy my son a new Christmas book, and I know what we already have, but at some point it might get to the point where I'm like, oh, we haven't read that one in a while, and I might, you know, be excited to get that book out or whatever. And films, I don't necessarily remember what we have like purchased, so I thought if I just keep books and films list here, I can kind of just reference that, and this can then be carried on through to the next year if I need to. Then I have my son's advent calendar, so I've got a page just for like notes about how I want to do it. And then in his advent calendar I normally have a little tiny toy, so this year he's going to get a Lego, don't tell him if you know him. So I got a second-hand, unused thankfully, Lego calendar, and so I've just written down what each item is, just in case I want to theme an activity, or if I can't remember what it is basically. So that's all down there. And then I'm going to write in, like, if we have any activities, what we're going to do on each day. And then I have a few pages carried over from last year, which were just all about, like, my December scrapbook junk journal project, which I used to call December Daily, but I changed it because apparently that's copyright written. I've no idea. Anyway, so this is just a few sheets to kind of write down ideas about that, if I'd like to do that. And then Advent notes for 2021, for next year. And the last section is food, so my gingerbread recipe, thoughts for 2020, what I'd like to do, and I just did a blank one because otherwise I don't really have anything. I've only got thoughts for 2020 and then notes for 2021. I want to get this food section filled out because last year I tried a whole load of new recipes, including a Christmas cake, and I did do a Christmas pudding the year before, and I haven't got any of them, the recipes sort of written out properly, they're just sort of like scrawled out. So I thought this year what I can do is maybe get recipes written on cards, something like that, and sort of fill this in. But I thought I'd do a blank page just for in case I think of something I need. And then obviously notes for 2021. And then in the back, oh sorry, that wasn't the last tab, beg your pardon. This is, these are just some things I cut out from a mail order food shop magazine, just to kind of reference the price. You know, like this is orange peel, because I obviously use orange peel and Christmas cake, and this gives me a good idea of how much it would cost for 60 grams or whatever. So those are just shoved in there. So the last tab, sorry, is decor. So again, decor thoughts for 2020. This, to be honest, is the page I use the least, the section I use the least, because I tend to just get on with the decor and I don't really write about it or plan it, because I'm aware that it could be the most expensive purchase. Like, and we have so many decorations I need to sort through and work out what we're going to do with them. So basically, I don't really need this section particularly, but I like to have it because sometimes there's things like, oh, the fairy lights are broken, need to get new ones next year. So then I would write that down on here. I have put my craft projects in here because most of the craft projects I do, not that I do that many, but for example, last year I did a patchwork cushion. Most of the craft projects I do are going to be sort of interior decor type projects, so like placemats, or I don't know, like I did a cushion cover, or you know, they're going to be decor related. I think this year I'm going to dress a fairy that my granny and my granddad made, but she doesn't have any clothes on, so I need to give her some clothes. So that might be my craft project this year. So I put that in the decor section. And then decor notes for 2021, for next year. And in the back, just all the kind of plastic files that I have loose with nothing in them in case I need them. A few stickers left over from last year in case I use them. This is my cash budget here. And then a lists pad which doesn't have anything on, but I normally put on food shopping lists on there. So that's everything ready to sort of properly set up. I just thought I'd talk a little bit about, because obviously I did these myself, and I tried to keep it simple because last year I want to go over the top, and every page had like a fancy different background and a label, and I do really like them. I do like them. I'll probably use them again at some point, but you know, they were really quite, I went to quite a lot of effort to do them, and it took absolutely ages and kind of drove me a bit crazy, to be honest. And some of them I did and I didn't like them. Anyway, so I thought I'll just keep it simple this year and see how that goes. So what I did was, I've been playing around with like designing labels because I was kind of inspired by the labels I cut up to make stick to kind of, what am I saying? These are stickers that I cut up to make my tab labels. And I quite like the double, I don't know if you can see, but it's like a double lined red vintagey kind of look. So I'd done this sheet of stickers just to kind of play around with different shapes. And I thought, well, I could probably use some of the more simple shapes. And I have done on the gifts pages, I think. Yeah, so here I used like the green one here for ideas and the red one for bought. And then what happened, the background was I used some tartan fabric designs that I'd made. Because I did a Skillshare class the other day. It was one of the Photoshop for lunch classes. And I'll try and remember to link it down below. But she was basically explaining how to design a tartan on Photoshop. And it was like thrilling once I worked out how you do it. So I think Americans, you say plaid, but a tartan or a plaid, or you know, this kind of woven fabric. And it was really fun, and I kind of went a bit crazy designing them. So these are all actually ginghams, plaids, whatever, that I've designed myself on Photoshop. And then I just did some sort of plain spotty ones just to kind of, I don't know, be a bit plainer. So these are the elements I used for all my headings. And then I got my typewriter out and I typed out all of the headings I needed, basically. I just sat with my typewriter. This is on to MD... It was an A5 notebook from Midori that I ripped up because I just liked the paper and it's very nice to type on. Anyway, so scanned that in and then sort of used the labels and bits and put them on with a drop shadow. So it wasn't too complicated, but it kind of, I feel like I just want to try something a bit more simple this year. So that's what I've done. And then the only other thing I've done that I could share you is I've sort of made these felt paper clips. So it's the needle felting technique where you wrap the wool and then you sort of stab it with a needle several times, and usually stab your hand several times. I did anyway. And yeah, I thought they were quite cute, so I might pop them in here and use them for whenever, I'm not sure. And I've shoved my, I don't think I used it last year, but this is my Hobonichi pen, freebie pen from last year, but it's red, so I thought, well, that's the most Christmassy pen I have, so that's gone in there. So yeah, that's how I've done it this year, and I'm going to go to my next step now, which is to transfer my notes into the correct location. So I'll be going through all my 2019 pages, and I will be writing out. So obviously I've got notes 2020. I need to go through these and put them out into here as actions or thoughts or whatever. So that's where I'm up to, and I will make a video probably soon. I don't know what it's going to be on soon. I'm probably not going to share any more of this planner because it's also going to get full with like secrets and exciting things. But I am obviously going to do a series on my junk journal, and so I'll probably start sharing videos about that soon. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this was interesting, and see you soon. Bye bye.